it's crucial to understand the emotions of this illness. They're the hardest things to put into words. They're even the hardest things to remember. But if somebody doesn't put them into words, all of us who go through these things are going to have no voice. And there is a kind of confusion that the normal human language doesn't leave room for. It doesn't allow you to express. Your body is failing you in really bizarre ways. My thermoregulatory system wasn't working. So if it was 98 degrees, I could be shivering. And if it's 48 degrees, I could be overheated. How do you don't read about that anywhere. It doesn't show up as a symptom in any description of an illness I have ever heard in my life or read in my life. And I've done a lot of reading. In those early days of science, I was reading for years, 2 books a day. Still, nothing about this. And the other symptoms, there's a kind of weakness. It's not tiredness. It's not fatigue. It's not wanting to take a nap or fall asleep. It's that, well, one of my friends who had a touch of chronic fatigue syndrome went up to a store 2 blocks from her home to shop for a new coat and discovered when she'd finished that she didn't have the strength to pick up her coat. She didn't have the strength to pick up something that weighed probably 16 ounces, 14 ounces, possibly 2 pounds. She couldn't pick it up. And you become incredibly weak. And there's nothing that prepares you for that because we don't even have a proper term for it. We don't discuss that kind of thing in the English language. Plus, you have something for which there is no name. And you go through something very peculiar when you have an illness with no name. Your doctors start by doing every test they can possibly conceive of on you. And then when it turns out that their tests do not in any way grip your problem, instead of blaming it on the limitations of modern medicine and the fact that it's nowhere near where it'll be 100 years from now, they blame it on you. They say, nothing's wrong with you. Well, if nothing's wrong with you, you must be some sort of a nutcase. And that's how you're left. But there's something even worse. The doctors don't even seem to know this. There's something about naming that gives things a place, a right to be. When you have no name for something, you fall between the cracks. You are no longer a part of the human process. You are no longer a part of perceived reality. You are nothing. You are nothing. You lose a piece of your human identity, and it is extremely confusing. So these are the things that were happening when I was in Manhattan, still able to work, but knew something was wrong. I went to a fancy schmancy, very, very expensive doctor who had his degree from Vanderbilt, looked ever so prestigious on his wall. And he came up with a name for a disease that's so out of the way that you've never heard it and so long and complicated that it makes you feel good anyway. It had nothing to do with my disease. It's a trick. It's a trick like when you walk into the doctor's office and you have a terrible stomach pain and you've been wondering for the last week if you've got stomach cancer, and the doctor thumps your chest and listens to your heartbeat from the rear and a bunch of things like that. And then when he's finished palpating your abdomen, he says, okay, I know what you've got. It's called gastritis. Well, you know what your doctor has just told you? You walked in and said, I have a stomachache. He's now told you in Latin, you have a stomachache. Names are incredibly important things. They calm us down. They make us feel as if other people have some sort of a handle on something. There was no name for this. And the name I was given by the fancy schmancy doctor, a name I can't even remember, was again his trick. Is like Dumbo's magic feather. A confidence building device, but a con. So illness without a name, no matter what it is, don't let your fucking doctor tell you it's your fault. Don't let your doctor say you have nothing. No, that means your doctor has nothing. That means your doctor is missing a brain. That means your doctor is not only missing a brain, he's missing a heart. That means there's something seriously wrong, not with you, but with your doctor.